1844. Do we believe that? Yes, as Seventh-day Adventist Christians, we do believe that the judgment began in 1844.
So there we go. The pre-Advent judgment began in 1844. We would not be able to go through all the ramifications of what Daniel depicted in chapter 9. So we have a host of calculations in chapter 9 that allows us to understand the 2,300 days prophecy that ended up right there in 1844. So the judgment began at that time. Now, the judgment began in 1844. So here is the million-dollar question. Who did this judgment begin with? So the dead, and I'm hearing my sister saying the antediluvians. Anybody else? Who did this judgment begin with? So yes, the judgment began with the dead. And in extension, we can say the antediluvians. Now, here is another million-dollar question, Sister Miller. When will the judgment begin with the living? So Sister Dawkins is saying it's going on now. Sister Rose is saying it's going on now. Anybody else? Started when? All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? So while it is that we don't have, while it is that we don't have an exact date. So from the spirit of prophecy, it is indicated that we are not certain in terms of an exact date that the judgment would begin with the living. Here it is, brethren. While it is that the pre-Advent judgment began.
The good or bad will come in the judgment. So if we tell a lie, if we whatever the commandment speaks to 10 principles. If we break the Sabbath, if we were disobedient, if we commit adultery, all the things that we would have done will come up in the judgment. But Pastor, while that is true, and we must live each day as if it is the last day, it was said earlier that the judge is the lawgiver, or the lawgiver is also the judge, but he is also our forgiving God. And he tells us that when we sin, we have an advocate with him. Yes. And so when we sin, we can go to him boldly, we can confess our sins, and he will forgive us. And when he forgives us our sins, he don't just forgive us, but he also washes us. And he removes those things. So it is very important, as was made mention earlier, that we should be living each day as if it is our last day, because we don't know when the judgment with the living started, and so anytime our names can be called.
That's right. And so Jesus is the judge. He's the sacrifice, the lamb. He is our high priest. He is the lawgiver. He's the one who seeks to forgive us of our sins. And we can call a whole host of other things about Jesus. Because he is Michael, the archangel. And Michael is his battle name. Sister Miller touched on what will come up in the judgment. But there's another part, Sister Miller, that I would want for you to elaborate on. What about the intents of the heart? Will those come up in the judgment as well?
Oh, sure. And sometimes we move about, and you're looking at me, but you don't know what is happening in my mind. Can you read my mind, Pastor? Tell me.
Not at all. I can't. I don't have such powers.
Right. And we sin in our very thoughts. And it is out of those thoughts that we really act. But some of our action, they don't tell. And so, yes, Pastor, the intents of the heart, those will come up. Because God is just a powerful God that He can read everything and He knows our hearts.
Thank you. Now, the pre-Advent judgment, yes? So, Mila, you want to take that one?
There is no forgiveness in the grave. But I also want to say that it is not, heaven is not left up to us to decide who goes or who don't go, but it is left up to God. However, His teachings and His principles are clear in that any unforgiven sin or any sins that is unrepented of will not enter there.
Thank you, Sister Miller. So, yes.
Because Jesus is our lawyer, and when you say that lawyer go, the judge go. And when people say Jesus, remember that you say, well, he will forgive. Yes, but I'm not going to forgive you now. I'm just telling you because the process are those things come right. I'm not forgiving anyone. So when we ask the Lord, your heart will not speak, you will not commit adultery, and those things, you will not say what better than sister.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we need a relationship with Jesus. Very, very important. The closer we draw to Jesus, the more the imprint of the law will be on our heart. Now, as we make our transition, we see, Sister Miller, from the pre-Advent judgment that there will be only a set of individuals that will be involved in this judgment. Who will be involved in this judgment? So we see a set of individuals in the pre-Advent judgment. When we come to the millennial judgment, we see another set of individuals that will be involved. So the pre-Advent judgment, as we make our transition, who will be involved in this judgment?
Christ and the heavenly host.
So Christ and the heavenly host will be involved in this judgment. You and I will not be involved. In other words, we will not be able to see and to look at any record whatsoever. We do know God does not need any recording for the judgment because He knows everything. He knows the intents of the heart. He knows our works. He knows everything. But here we have that the pre-Advent judgment will only include at this time God and the heavenly host. By the time we get to the millennial judgment,